Yo, what's up, YouTubers? Today, we're gonna talk about subwoofers. What specs to look for. Most real bass heads and know what we're doing. We're not name branders. I'm not a name brander. I'm not a scar head. I'm not a kicker fan, even though I am a kicker fan, because kicker was the first subwoofers I have. They was the thing to have back in the day. Not saying they are not now. Massive is good. Scar's good. JL Audio's good. It all depends on the specs and what you're trying to do. So we're going to talk about specs that is important. Now, most of us know the basics is how much power the subwoofer takes versus your amp. Let's say you got two 12s and their RMS is 500 watts a piece. Then you want to get a amplifier that does 1,000 watts RMS. Now, let's get to the real tricky part. Power is one thing. Quality is another thing. How we explain that is, now, for one, what's the FS or the FR? The FS, to explain, is the frequency that the subwoofer plays its best at in quality, far as sound and loudness. A lot of people don't know that, so we're breaking it down today. So let's say your FS is 30 hertz. That subwoofer is going to sound its best at 30 hertz. And it's going to be its loudest at 30 hertz. So usually a real box builder will probably get a box that was tuned to 30 hertz. Now, if your FS is 20 hertz, or 22. Let's say a lot of scars are 22 hertz. They're gonna sound best at 22 hertz. Now, saying you're playing that scar at 30 hertz, it might sound a little good, but that other subwoofer that plays at 30 hertz is gonna sound better at 30 hertz if your low pass filter is set to 30 hertz. So that's what you're looking for. Loudness is one thing, like I said, but the FR, the FS, how low do you want to go? How good do you want it to sound? Some people like 40s hertz. Some people like 50 hertz. Then if that's what you like, you kind of want a subwoofer where its FS is at 50 hertz. If you like 30, then you want a subwoofer where its FS is at 30 or 28. I do have a new sub. It's an Alpha Sonic. I wanted to go deeper. Found out I didn't want to go that damn deep. It went down to 26. But I inverted it, put it in the car, and it was playing like 26 the whole time. It didn't matter what I did with my low pass filter. It still had 26 there. So I used my subsonic filter so it wouldn't dip that low, because it was hurting my ears. So everybody's ears are different. I mean, it was dipping really low. It was probably dipping down to the 20s too. But yeah, its FS was 26, so it sounds great at 26 hertz. So FR is another important feature. That is the frequencies that it plays down to. So let's say your FR is 200 hertz to 22 hertz. Then those are the frequencies that it will respond best to. Now, any subwoofer can probably go down to 15 hertz or 10 hertz, but once it goes past its FR, like it goes past 22, you're starting to damage the speaker if you're playing it at a loud volume. That's another thing that FR is also important, and your FS is important, because once you play it lower than the FR, you're damaging the speaker. So those are two important things. Another important thing is the dB, measured sound. So let's say you got two 12s by one company, 12 by one company, one by another company. We're not gonna say any names. Company one sub, all the other specs are the same, but we changed the dB. One of them's dB is 85 decibel. The second one is 95 decibel. What that means is the one that's 85 decibels is gonna be 3 times louder, significantly louder than the one that's 85 decibels on the same power. Usually, before they put the speaker out, that's measured by 1 watt. So the one that's 95 decibels is going to be way louder than the one that's 85 decibels on the same power if you're trying to get loud. So, meaning you're going to save on using a lot of watts on your amp if the dB is higher on that subwoofer. You're going to get twice as loud on the same amount of power, meaning to get as loud as the one that was 85 decibels, you're running less power. So to break that down, you're running 1,000 watts. Okay, your amp is 1,000 watts, and you run the one that's 85 decibels. You run the one that's 85 decibels. For the other one, and at 1,000 watts, say you're at 1,000 watts. Let's say you're hitting the meter at 130 with 1,000 watts. With the one that's 95 decibels, you probably hit a 130 with 500 watts. Meaning you're using less power. Not even if you want to hit a 130 or not, let's just say you're using less power. That's an advantage, meaning it's pulling less current from the car and it's pulling less current from the amplifier, and it probably might sound a little cleaner because it's pulling less of its power. So that's one of our Q&As on subwoofers. Another one is if you're looking for sound quality, some people say it's a myth. I don't think it's a myth. But subwoofers that have no dust cap, the big dust cap, those are sound quality subs. Those are usually sound quality subs. You got different subs out there. The ones that have the big dust cap that's poking out, those are your SPL subs. Now, back in the 90s, we only had sound quality subs and we had SPL subs. But now a lot of companies are making sound quality SPL subs, meaning you get a little bit of both. So guys, when you're out there, my new street beaters, whatever, know what you want. Are you trying to get loud? Are you trying to sound good? Then you should know what you should get. Either it's going to be a sound quality sub or a loud sub. I like sound quality myself, but I got friends out here in the streets, they're really loud. I'm not going to lie, their stuff don't sound good to me, but that's what it is. But they love it. If you love it, I love it. But yeah, so know what you're looking for. And another thing, not meaning to talk about amps, but if you want sound quality, make sure your THD is high. And make sure your noise to signal ratio is low. You do want to get the best sound quality, how the noise ratio works. I advise you guys, when you go buy an amplifier, just don't buy it because what it says on the box, all right? Actually, if you can, get them to open the box and read the manual. So sound quality also starts with your amplifier. If you're running an amplifier that has 0.8 ratio of noise, that's super high to me. I want to get as low as 0.5 or 0.3. 0.3 is very good. Or 0.2 is even better than a 0.3, meaning you're sounding really good. And Some subs sound better than others. Like I said, I'm not a name brander. I've heard a lot of them. I got some Blind Punks in the house. They sounded damn good. I'm not going to lie. But I had to switch them out because they only hold like 400 watt peak a piece. And I wanted to push at least 800 RMS. So their RMSs was only like 200, which would equal 4. I needed 8, so I bought some Certain Vegas. But yeah, guys, that's what you're looking for when you're buying subs. You're looking for the FR. That's important. You're looking for the FS frequency, which is what it's going to sound best at. How low it's going to go. How good it's going to sound at that frequency. That also works with your box. Don't think it's just all box tuning. And that's it, guys. Subwoofer Q&A. Match your subwoofer's power with your amplifier and you should be good. Make sure the FS, see what the FS is if you can. Search Amazon. I'll tell you a lot of those specs. YouTube will tell you a lot of those specs. It's another site I go to. I can't think of the name, but I'll put the name in the video later. When I edit it, it's a really good site. It tells you everything, and they got a lot of subs on there, and they tell you everything that you need to know. The BL, the FR, the DB, all kind of stuff.